Hey, sorry. I know, super corny, but it's kind of fun. I'm really excited. I got a stand-up desk this week, so you can't see it, but you're on it. You're on it right now. So really excited because I'm coming to you from a standing position. Thank you, thank you. Lower back, thanks you. Everybody's super excited. Anyway, this week I wanted to talk with you about something that's been coming up pretty frequently, actually. As many of you know, refinances are just blowing up right now. Pipeline is super crammed. Everybody's super busy across the industry. And so I have this common question on both sides, purchases and refinances. And that question is, Brian, this all sounds awesome, but what is it going to cost me? What's my out-of-pocket cost for this service, right? So I just wanted to touch on that real quick. And, you know, I labeled the video fees, please, but they're not really fees, but let's talk about some of the differences, right? So for both a purchase and a refinance, you're going to have the cost of the appraisal. So that is an upfront charge. It's usually seen as a true deposit. So if the appraisal doesn't take place for whatever reason, they'll credit the money back. Or if a lesser appraisal, so let's say a drive-by or a desktop appraisal, if one of those two takes place, those are typically less expensive than a full appraisal. Depends on the property, so don't quote me on that. But so typically, if that is a lower cost, they will credit you the difference at closing. But that is something that you pay for upfront. It's usually run with a credit card or debit card right at the beginning of the process, so we can get that ordered, get that scheduled as soon as possible. So that's one thing, right? On the purchase side of the house, you also have your home inspection. So your home inspection is another cost out of pocket that you bring right up front, and that is going to be handled between you and your real estate agent. So typically, they have somebody in mind that they like to use. You can obviously throw your favorite inspector's hat in the ring. You get to decide. You guys talk about that and set that up. But that's a charge that is outside of the loan process. So that is not part of your loan. And really, that's what we're talking about, because we get a lot of people that ask, like, hey, you know, I thought this was all covered in the loan. And it's not. So home inspection, not part of the loan. Appraisal, not really part of the loan. The tricky part there is it will show up on your fee worksheet, but it actually gets deducted at the end. So it shows up, but since you pay it before closing, it goes away. Magic, right? So there's those two things. On the purchase side, there's another thing, and that's called your earnest money deposit. So your earnest money deposit is that's another basically deposit that's holding space for that home. So why is that important? I get a lot of people that ask, well, can I just put, you know, $500 down or $1,000 down? And first off, this is a conversation for you and your realtor. But my 2 cents is no. You want to make it a viable deposit for whoever's selling their home, right? Because here's what you're doing. You're saying, I'm serious about buying your home. So I'm going to put whatever that dollar amount is, you know, 1 or 2% of the purchase price, whatever. I'm going to put that into escrow, and you are going to take your home off the market for the time that it takes me to have it inspected, have it appraised, decide if I still want to buy it. And so it's really this good faith deposit towards that process. So the reason you put that money into escrow is so that the home seller can say, okay, I feel comfortable that they're not just going to turn around and walk away. It gives you a little bit of skin in the game, and it makes it so that they're willing to put up with you know, your back and forth and your inspections and all that time, because otherwise they're just taking their home off the market and they're missing out on other potential buyers. So if you're not serious and you don't have skin in the game, why would they remove their home from the market, and why would they want to miss out on other potential buyers coming through and seeing the house? So that's what the earnest money deposit is for. Now, the cool thing about that is that actually applies towards your total cash to close, which is the figure, you know, at the very bottom of that loan estimate that you see, money that you have to bring to the closing table. And so the earnest money deposit actually comes off of that. So it's not in addition to. right? So you have your earnest money, your down payment, and then your closing costs and fees. So that all makes up that closing costs or that total cash to close number. So that's kind of nice. So once again, I get a lot of folks that are asking, hey, what do I have to pay for out of pocket? What's my piece of this process? And then real briefly, I also want to touch on a couple of these, the whole conversation around zero down and closing costs. So we've had some folks that, aren't excited when they find out they have to pay for an appraisal because they thought, I thought this was a zero down loan. It can be, if we're looking at USDA or VA. But here's the catch. That doesn't exclude you from paying closing costs or your appraisal. So a 0% down loan is just that. It's 0% down. Still have to pay for everything else, right? And there are some options to finance some of those costs in, and we could talk about that if you want to get into specifics. But that's another piece. So you would still have your appraisal, your inspection, your earnest money. That would still be part of that, right? So you would still have to pay that up front, but you would have zero down for those specific programs. And so just want to clear some of that up. Like I said, folks asking, hey, what am I on the hook for? What do I have to pay for? What's coming out of my pocket during this process? Because oftentimes, they think that it's all part of the loan or that it's all part of the closing costs. And so I just wanted to shed some light on that. So anywho, hope you like my new hat. Got this as a prize. It's pretty cool, right? I dig it. Matches my purple shirt. There we go. Winning. Anywho, so there's a little bit of knowledge. I'm going to come back probably tomorrow actually and talk about what just happened with the feds and what's going on with the market right now and why did rates change on Tuesday? That was kind of crazy. So we'll talk about that probably tomorrow. So I hope to see you then. All right, you guys take it easy. I'm Brian with Loan Depot here in Bend, Oregon, and I'd love to talk with you. So give me a call, shoot me a text, whatever works for you. 541-914-2567. All right, you guys, take care. Have a good afternoon.